Hello everybody, I'm Ross from Figure Painting Co UK with a brand new microphone. I hope you can hear the difference. And tonight we've got a 200-point game of Blucher with 5 players, none of which are me. 4 new players, 1 person knows the rule with 2 core, everyone else with 1 core each. Use the same army list from the Zurich game, which I will put up again so you can have a look at those. So thank you to Roger for sending through the lists that we use in the Zurich game. Yes, I really am spoilt by him. He does all this kind of stuff normally. But with people turning up, it's safe to go with that. So you can see sort of standard French build there with the 2 infantry corps and the cavalry corps. So there's the Russian army list. Feel free to pause the video and have a closer look if you wish to. It's quite an interesting list. Got a couple of grenadiers in there. And even some Cossacks. So, and for figures for this game, took out some of my old 172nd, rescued them from my boys' games. Again, Roger usually spoils me by bringing all the figures, so I had to do some work this time. And I've also got some new line figures starting to be added in. They're the same size and match up nicely, and they're just nice metal figures, and they paint up really well. So gradually I'll be substituting those in for the battle reports for my own games. And my children can carry on trashing the old Airfix ones, all the S-Key and all the other plastic ones that have come out at the moment. I have to say they must be the best value toy in any market, never mind just figures. I've had them most of my life and used them countless times. And now my sons are using them, and they're still going strong, even if the paint comes off. I've also gone for very similar terrain, which I've set up in advance to speed things along. Club nights, not a lot of time to play a game, but these guys whiz through the turns. And if there's more players, make it quicker, or just decisive decision making, more than my dithering I normally do. This game was all done an hour and 15 minutes. So a lot of the time you see me trying to keep up, moving markers, casualties, taking photographs. So excuse any gaps, mistakes to the rules, that kind of thing. We're doing our best. So as you can see, the top end of the table with the blue cards, we've got the French deployed, 3 corps, and it'll sneak preview. The top right, their left as it were, is actually the cavalry, which look a little bit stuck in the corner, but they come in useful. And the centre and the other side are the infantry corps, or divisions, whichever you prefer. And on the bottom side here, the Russians have looked at that. And Rimsky-Korsakov here has made a similar decision to the one I made when I played it before, which was to go down the right flank, and he's massed. The difference is the Russians this time have gone for more of a cavalry presence on the right flank to do that, which I guess makes more sense in a way. The grenadiers are on the far left, and the central division is going to push through, and of course the objective is the village you can see at the top there. So without further ado, this is Russian turn 1. And that central division is pushed straight up towards that small hill there. Quick thank you to Dash for Land for their deal on the terrain. If you've only got small hills, no problem, just put the felt underneath to mark the area effects. Easy once you've seen it, so obvious. Why did I never think of that before? And it means you're just going to carry a few small hills around rather than a big bag full of them. So there you go, they're all gentle hills, pushing straight up on the village, no messing about, and unfortunately double 1 to start with, so that's it. Okay, so I've kept the pictures from the Russian side to keep things simple. And you might be able to notice, hopefully you can, that the leftmost unit that's being pushed up is actually heavy artillery. So that's very aggressive. The range is quite good on these things, but they're right in there, going straight for the throat. And you can see the top right hand corner, hopefully the zoom hasn't taken it off. There's a unit of French light cavalry that's come right around the side, going to have a look what's going on over there, try and do some spotting. And just generally be a nuisance on that side of the table. It was a low roll, so that was it. Both sides, very quick start. Turn 2 for the Russians. And Russian general shouted across to James, come on the right flank, just charge in there and push those out. And the plan here is quite straightforward to roll up that flank, coordinated attack with the guys in the middle pushing in on the village. And what can you do? Stick or twist the French. If you stay there, you're going to get run over. So you have to run away Turn 2 for the French. And a double 1. It was remarkable. The first few turns flew through. Hardly anything got done. So there we are. So unlucky those players who didn't get to actually do anything but watch. So up comes the French cavalry. The chasers like cavalry off. I gave them a free turn to move a full move. I think that's okay within the rules. One of the players tried to claim it wasn't, so they can't do that. I said they can tonight. That's a referee. Just stick to the. Well, it makes sense anyway, doesn't it? But be firm in your judgments. I get an overview shots, and hopefully you can notice in the middle there's a white disc appeared on the Russian artillery, which has opened up blind. 3 dice against the centre of the French line. Of course, hit straight away. Flip them over, reeled them, which is quite a clever move because not only you got the bonus of a hit, but it messes up that command's march move. They're just outside spotting range, but they are within artillery range. So now we've got a better idea and a bit more limitations, even more on the French there. So there's the right flank, the cavalry chasing them up. Of course, they move the same speed, so they can never quite catch them. But it is providing a sort of free running, if you like. This other hill I know looks rocky, but it's still gentle going for our game. And the interesting one here was the 2 grenadiers have gone on individual moves. I think it was a case of moved all 6 of the cavalry up, thought that would be the end of the turn, just shoved one, that's 8 points, shoved another one, 10 points. I think it's a double 6. So the poor French got double 1s, and the Russians got a double 6. So there you go. They did actually turn out quite useful as grenadiers. And here we see our Deadeye artillery, now with 4 dice, hitting again. As you know, the artillery goes down. Did try to play the house rule, whereby you can use an independent activation to reload the artillery back up 1 level. But these guys getting straight in and firing away. I don't think anyone got a chance to even think about reloading. And now we've got Ken over here on our left, or the French right. He's pushing through that strong division there, 5 brigades of foot. It's not like the Maurice game, we have to be on the same terrain, so moving on that gentle hill is fine. Not like cavalry sweeping around the extreme flank. So there's the muddy field at the top, which has proven a bit of a problem for the cavalry because with Maurice, if you can move, Blucher, the direction's fine, but you must end up facing the direction you're moving. Otherwise it becomes a difficult manoeuvre and you move less. Oh, by the way, all these random trees dotted around, another bit confusing. They are purely for show. If they haven't got the piece of felt underneath them, which makes them of wood, they are just there to break it up a bit. You know, we're always playing on snooker tables. I like random scatter, and it's my new, possibly a new product line. These trees, I think they're quite nice. So there we are, a little plug for them. But ignore them for game purposes. Oh, it's blurred. Oh, what we see here, actually, what we almost see, is the French artillery, which can't deploy in the town, so it's had to come out just in front, and it's opened up and put a pip on those cavalry straight away. Russian turn 5, we're flying along. I just want to point out the colours are used throughout the same. So you've got the 1, 2 are orange, 3, 4 are white, 5, 6 are green, 7, 8, I can't remember. The next colour up. So if you see those coloured discs on the table, you've got an idea which ones are in trouble. Green shows they're doing fine. White's starting to wilt a bit. Once the oranges come out, they're in a bit of trouble. You can see the 4 in the artillery there. So we're trying to work out how the cavalry is going to go around that field without using too much movement, without losing too much. Whichever way you wangle it, it's going to be 2 turns. 1 turn to get to the corner and turn, and 1 turn to make the charges. What we have forgotten here, playing so quickly I didn't get a chance to catch up, is they should be able to spot those French cards at the top and turn those over. And see them doesn't make a lot of difference because they're not going anywhere and they're about to turn over anyway. Alright, sorry about the picture, just trying to wangle that cavalry round. Okay, so nice overview here. You can see the French starting to wheel around this left side. And Russian light cavalry has gone to the far left to meet it, so that's going to block that off. This one unit of grenadiers below the central hill is marching out in front of those 5 brigades there. Doesn't seem too bothered about it. Russian the artillery in the middle's doing a couple of pips on that middle brigade. French artillery is starting to do a lot of hurt on those. But if you look at the hill on the right, the Russian brigades are now getting in touching distance of the town. This could be a very short game. Take that, they win. Now the attack. Sorry, that was my cat. My cat's just knocked my teeth line. Luckily it wasn't very hot. I have to pause a second. Cats are no respecters of the red recording light. Okay, so you see the cavalry at the top. Like I said, they can't quite close in, but they're getting very close now. Got around the corner. The orange markers are an attempt by me, or the orange dice, to show which units have moved. Make it a bit easier on the photo stories. I think I'll make some arrows be more useful next time. But the other problem I've got, we're playing on the end of a long table, and I can't run around the other side, so I'll just stretch over across the diagonal. So, anyway, it gives you an idea. You see the white discs appearing, the armor's getting lower on the French artillery, and they're doing a couple of pips on the Russian infantry coming in to meet them. Okay, so now you see the orange markers showing the French sent up infantry into the village to support that artillery. And they've appeared on the top to start trying to stop that cavalry come sweeping round. So they are cavalry, as I mentioned before. Not a lot of room for that cavalry to manoeuvre, and they are outnumbered, especially with the first one running. That flank's a bit difficult for the French. I think the Russians are going to try and push through there as quickly as possible. And if they can jam into the town before any support arrives, they can win this very quickly. There's the orange markers again. You can see what the French are doing to try and prevent that. And this, the dead-eye artillery crew, if it was elite artillery, everyone raised up Russian artillery. Well, these guys, I just don't think they missed out 2 pips. The red balls I'm putting on, so you can see how many hits are being done each turn, just to help. Another 2. And then into the orange numbers, they've got 1 pip or 2 pip left, and they're already in trouble. Forget reloading, just blast until there's no one there. So turn 6 the Russians. That shouldn't seem to be that secret. And here comes the major charge. Now with 4 new players, I want to get bogged down with all the details of the rules. We run a little bit fast and loose on occasions. I think this is one of those occasions. Didn't really go with the target priority rules, charge priority rules. Didn't have the book with me, which didn't help. Did our best. So what's happened here is the front unit is charged all the way down to the bottom. The next unit's taken the next one up, which left 2 units to gang up on the top unit to get the 2 for 1. Might have been a bit tricky, but worked well and made for an exciting game and a dashing cavalry charge. It's a shame you can't see it better, but as I described it, 1 to 1, 1 to 1 at the top, a 2 to 1. So it's welcome to the game, French cavalry. Just appeared and now you're getting charged. Shocking pictures. They do get better again, I promise. You can see all the red markers are casualties. So the bottom melee has bounced off, taken 2 hits, so they lost that one. They won the middle one, and expected with a 2 to 1 odds, so you've got 13 dice rolling against about 6 dice at the top. You think that would be enough, but no, that was a draw. So the middle's caved in, the bottom's gone backwards, and there's this one of the things I do like about Blucher is how fluid the melees are. Playing quite a bit of lot to the gear at the moment, and he does get a bit static, the combat lines. Look at that. Wham, straight in, straight through or bounce off, and one melee bashing on the top. So that fast, chaotic scene. And the French infantry have appeared behind now to block that gap, which is going to cause a bit of a problem. And he actually managed to get a shot through the gap. The picture's not good enough to explain all the fine details of what's going on here, but the Russian cavalry are basically chopping their way through, and the French are looking for ways to escape without going off the edge of the table, which would be the end of them. So we have to wangle it a bit so they don't all die too quickly. Actually, there's only units that guy gets to command, and they've just come on and gone back off again. And the red dots appear at the bottom, so on the right we can see the cavalry bounced off. Okay, behind the Russian lines, and the orange dots are now this end of the table. It's a great thing with the command points, the way it works. You got to flick back and forward, prioritise what you need to do. And as you can see now, they've been deployed, that brigade or division, And they've got the artillery as well, right in the bottom of the screen there. It's to the left of the glasses case. Messy gamers. And they're going to start trying to stop that 5 brigades that are coming barreling through there. And some shooting's going on here. Now this is it. One of the rules, I haven't checked the rules since I got back. But it did 2 shooting damage on the artillery, which apparently is enough to destroy them. Hope you haven't got the games mixed up. They're running low on ammunition anyway, it didn't make a huge difference. But I hope I got that one right, and that's what's going on there. So again, the orange marker is proving useful as the Russians are moving up to plug that gap, and the light cavalry is covering that far flank. So the yellow markers up there show the French infantry have now gone square, which really blocks that top end off for the Russian cavalry. They might have beaten the French cavalry, but I don't really see what they can do now. And if the French cavalry can leap through their own lines and get back into the middle of the game, they're actually more useful. So the Russian tactics here is very much try and break the enemy army. I mean, they'd like to take this town, but that's a tough ask. And with the cavalry now, well, although they're winning, once out the game, you see the red dots appearing? That's because the infantry's starting to do shooting on them as well now. And the one in the field's getting hit as well. So, yeah. Oh, my coloured dice! Yay! I've developed these originally for children, but they're great for Blucher, and I'm going to start using them more and more. There's one red dot, they're large dots, but there's one red side on the dice, 2 blue sides, and 3 yellows. So, the way the system works, if you need 6s, roll the dice, see how many reds you got. If you need 5s or 6s, roll the dice, see how many blues you got. Simple as that. And the yellows represent the 4, 5, 6 roll. So in this instance, you can see there's 3 reds that come up. So out of the 6 dice, 3 yellows miss completely. Now, interestingly, because we didn't need 5 or 6, because that would be blues, and none of those have shown up at all. So, anyway, 3 6s effectively, those reds. So that's 3 hits in one round of shooting from the town. And that Russian attack is starting to stall now. But I want you to pay attention, because behind the front leading brigade just got shot, there are some cavalry. They don't have much help taking that village, but they're in a useful spot, it turns out. Back to Russians' turns. Okay, so they're winning that, and there's a lot of fiddling to try and get the French out or off the edge of the table. Doesn't really matter. The overall picture is that Russian cavalry beat the French cavalry. French army's taking too many hits, and breaking is starting to become an issue. But where are the Russian cavalry going to go? They're not going to bash through 2 fresh squares. So there's the current state of play on the battlefield. As you can see, the French, you might not be able to see, but I can tell you the top right-hand corner, the Russian cavalry have gone really as far as they can go, and I can't see any way back out for them. Just over the dark green hill, they're pushing on to the town, but, 2 or 3 brigades left? 2 brigades in the town? Not great odds, but look, in the centre. Here comes the Russian reserve, straight through the middle, and another 2 brigades. That can make all the difference in the world. It's real stick or twist time, because do you turn left and face the French that are coming through that hill? Or do you just leave it to the other 3 guys to hold them out while you loot the opponent's town? So it really is becoming a bit of a race over there. And there's still a French reserve at the top, which I think is about to get spotted, or at least revealed anyway. Okay, so this is the bottom end of the table. So as you can see, it's quite a nice setup for the Russians down here. Got the artillery blazing away, the 3 line, and what you can't quite see is the light cavalry off to the left, covering that wood. Back up to the top. The cavalry still they're finishing off the rest of the French cavalry. We're about to leak through the lines, doesn't really matter. So this is a rough game for shooting. This artillery, which is now rolling like 2 dice or something, has hit again, and I think that's them destroyed. And you can see on the right hand side the red dot still left from where the Russian brigade got destroyed. I mean, shooting, you're hitting on 6s. You don't expect to see that much casualties, that much damage being done. So there's confirmation. The artillery's down to 2 shots left. Boom. Ah dear. Devastating. Alright, and more of that confusion and chaos up there. I can't remember the details. It was a bit fiddly because they're trying to get out and evade, and then they're shooting through gaps and all that kind of stuff. The point's the same. Those two infantry brigades are going nowhere. They're in square, making it impossible to get past the top end of the village. There's no way that cavalry's going to break them. They're not even going to try. So really, that end of the table, just a matter of how many French cavalry can get out. You occasionally see one cavalry. It's not fresh. I think it's on 3, and the markers in front of the infantry needs to be brought across with them. If it was fresh, it might be quite useful because there's no cavalry at all on the rest of the table, and the Russian cavalry's now at the game. Alright. Oh, no double ones. That was all they did. The cavalry retreated. Nothing else did anything. And again, I've concentrated on that because it's quite complicated and difficult to work out, but really, that's all sewn up now. Oh, don't forget that blue card in the town. We decided the town's big enough to hold 2 units. It's a bit of a fiddle, but what can you do? It's been sitting there all game, can't suddenly turn around and say, oh, they can't go there. So that top end is really folded up. Yep. Bit of a mistake there. There was the reds, not yellows, which is 2 hits, and 1 for the 5, 6. I just realised it's a bit of a cheat there because the blue, there's 2 blues and there's only 1 5 on the dice. I'll have to think about that. That doesn't work quite smoothly. It's this rule that Sam's got where you can have 1 5 counting. So, think about that. Anyway, the point is, lots of damage being done to those grenadiers that are supposedly shoring things up for the Russians. So with everything tied up on the right, the French are dangerously close to breaking, but the Russians are starting to take casualties as well. And there's a chance of breaking through on this side. We'll get a better view of that in a second. So you can see the middle's been cleared out. The reserves still haven't been spotted. It's amazing when you look at it. But everything's just out of range. And yeah, more casualties on the brigade leading the charge against the town. So you see down to 3 brigades now. Poor odds. Cavalry stuck at the top. And you've got cavalry amongst this central assault. And here come the French, looking to steal this game. It did look for a while like it's all over for them. The Russians had this won. But more casualties on the grenadiers at the right edge of this Russian line. If they can push through there before they break, taking the village is going to be irrelevant. If they can mop up those 3-4 units, the Russians will have broken. So it's looking close to both sides now. But, as you can see, the French are taking a few casualties as well. Okay, there's no overview of that situation. Yeah, so stick or twist time for the Russians, and they've gone for stick. The options were to keep pushing up with this views at the bottom of the table there. Keep pushing for the village and try and win the game that way. Either break the French or take the town and just try to hang on to your own town. But he's actually turned to face up against those French, so it's a bit different now. Oh, there's a better view. I suppose they're protecting the artillery as well. Could have tried to reload the artillery. People rolling a lot of low rolls, not getting a lot of chance to do things. Although it was noticeable that Russians had a run of like 11, 11, 12, 10, and were doing loads of stuff, and the French are getting shocking amount of command points. And it's only now, really, that French reserves getting a chance to deploy. And they have got a sting in the tail, because they are coming on with artillery. But this, I think, is the crucial moment. I think without this turn, the French were still looking to win this game. I don't think they could have been broken that easily. Like I said, the Russian cavalry's out of it. The assault's failing on the town, and the French have got superior numbers on this attack down to the left. And with that reserve, which could have marched all the way around to support the main thrust and take the town, just ignore those Russians there. I think you're going to hold on to that town anyway. And the mistake of the blunder here. It's so tempted to put the artillery near. It's not a march move, they've just moved up. But they are very close to that cavalry. The guys in the town have got to shoot their nearest targets. They've destroyed another Russian brigade. So that town's safe in my book. That's not going to go. That's covered. This area doesn't need the support. The reserve doesn't need to come here. If I had swung around the far left, the game was there to be won. And the artillery could have even joined in. Because it would have got the full 24 inches in our case. The full march move. Whereas now their cavalry couldn't be shot at, because he just moved. There's only one place they're going to go. Right, getting back to this main assault. As you can see, more casualties piling in on the Russians, but the odds are evening up. And it's coming a bit of a attritional battle, this one. It's going to cancel each other out a bit. Yeah, lost all counter turns. It was going so fast. I've tried to be like croupier, getting the chips in and out and put the damage markers on, take photos. And it's gone pretty well though, and it was a fascinating game. It's great fun. And there's loads of banter, you can imagine, with 5 blokes playing, and everyone giving me a load of stick for making mistakes, referee without knowing the rules very well, all that kind of stuff. So I hope that's come across. And exciting. Look at this situation there. The French can overwhelm this bottom left-hand corner. I think if they'd just been a bit more committed to that, they could have won that game. I mean, just won by breaking the Russians, sorry. There's other ways to win the game, as we'll see in a minute. And the red dots start to appear. I've just jumped in quickly to re-narrate this slide, if it sounds a bit different. Because I've realised, if you look at it, it reminded me that the French cavalry were just short. This was the screening cavalry that was taking care of the French cavalry that was coming down the edge. And they seen a chance to hit that infantry in the flank, unprepared, attack with the advantage. But they were just short. As you can see there, that would have been the break, and the French would have broken. Now, in the rest of the commentary, I talk about the French breaking, but I'm not so sure now looking back on it. I think maybe a draw. But anyway, this might seem a little bit out of sync, but they were just short, no reference to it. You'll see there's no red dots appearing, obviously it wasn't a melee. And back to normal service. On the Russian side, this is a chance to go for the break. I think we should show the fact there's another double one there. So that light cavalry's gone in unsupported, nothing else is going to happen this turn. That's the key one. I rolled that one off, I think they destroyed them, they did some damage. I'm showing the top of the table there. Yeah, and the reason is you can see right in the middle of your screen, I should zoom in, the cavalry, he did have just enough pips to charge in and hit that artillery. Now if the double one had come then, and the other cavalry had charged first, this cavalry would not be able to charge. They would have been sitting there, grape shot range, all that infantry as well. Be very different, but they did get to charge. And not only that, they beat the artillery by more than 2 and destroyed them. Which also helps the break situation. And you can see the guys in the town, they've taken a hit, but I mean they can be fine. And there's 2 fresh brigades here, that town's not going to be lost, but unfortunately for the French, they are now dangerously close to breaking, just based on the number of units lost. We set the break at a third. They started with 16. I think they've now lost 5, so one more's going to do it. It's also getting up to the time if you want to go home. On to the next turn. I've no idea. I've lost count by now a long time ago. I think it does say in the Blucher book that a full day is like 24 turns, 36 in the summer, some huge number. I think we're about turn 10. So there's plenty of time to finish this off. Even if you count both players separately, I'll only be turn 20. So the French really had a chance to pile through here. If you can see on the left-hand side, that French cavalry has hit and also destroyed the artillery in the middle. The French infantry started to get some hits on the guys on the hill. So the Russian infantry started to get hits on the guy on the hill. There's still a reserve brigade in the Russian town. The French aren't going to quite do it. So at least give it a charge. Why not? Why not? Guys at the top are trying to fight off that cavalry. The first unit right in the middle, you can see, has made it into the charge. The one next doesn't quite make it. There's no support or anything. The French army is going to break. Can they break a Russian unit and take it with them? So that's the situation when we called the game. There was a sort of packing up time. Well, we could have gone a bit longer, I think. I wish we had, because I think it was very interesting. Looking back, I don't think the French actually had broken yet. And I think there's still all to play for. Although you can see, even though it wasn't contacted, the one French brigade in this bottom left-hand corner has had to turn to face the cavalry. It's like, do you turn or do you go prepared? Prepared would have been better. There's new players and everything. So they could have stood off against that cavalry, perhaps. They're going to shoot them anyway. That's the advantage of turning. They can shoot them. And down here, not really enough to push through. So I suppose the Russians are about to break the French, but they haven't quite done it yet. And also, as the French were defenders, their job is to hold the village or the town, which is what they've done. So you can argue the French have done. I was really pleased that everyone played, actually. I thought it was good tactics. And what it showed to me as well is how intuitive Blucher is. One of the great things about this game, even if you don't know the rules, I hope someone in the game does, but even if you don't know them yourself, the things you want to do are generally what you can do. You know, it is very intuitive, it responds well. It doesn't seem weird, any of the things that happen. Basic tactics work well. It's a great game, and I really enjoy it. So an exciting game of Blucher there, and I look forward to seeing lots of comments. It's a family channel, so not too rude, but apart from that, I'd love to see feedback. How you think the game went, tactics, rules, all that kind of stuff, good, bad. It's good to get feedback and encouragement. And there's more games to come. I've got some photographs of Maurice, Lord of the Rings, a couple of other things. Played quite a lot of games lately. And also, the thing I've started on is L'Art de la Guerre, the Ancients rule set. And I've actually got a tournament next weekend, beginning of December. So I'm going a little bit at the deep end, because I'm only just learning the rules, starting the game. I played a couple of practice games, mostly trying to experiment some tactics for an army list I'm planning. And I've got figures to paint for that. They're from Aventine Miniatures. Highly recommend them. They're gorgeous figures. I've just started on them, really enjoying it. And go and have a look at their website if you're at all interested in Ancients. And my plan is to do the sort of story of the army being built, a couple of practice games, how it goes, and then how it does in the tournament. Probably get thrashed. But there you go, it's all part of the learning curve, and should be an interesting experience. So look forward to catching up with you at the next time, and I hope the new microphone has improved the sound. And I will do a little bit more as I get the hang of the microphone, use my voice a bit more perhaps. And I hope you enjoyed it. Until the next time, keep rolling.